Today, I want to talk about intermittent fasting. I don't like using the word intermittent fasting because that's become a fad. People put themselves into a box of 16/8, never asking why it couldn't be 15, why it couldn't be 17, why it couldn't be 16 and a half. You cannot take a bio-individual, unique human being and put them into a box. That's why the world is so sick today, because we have a cookie cutter approach to health. Fasting, sleeping hours, how much you should exercise, forgetting bio-individuality, that everyone is different. So when it comes to fasting today, fasting is therapeutic. We know that. We know it's scientifically proven. We know that as human beings, we're not supposed to be eating all the time. We're not supposed to be snacking all the time. And if we can eat a meal, and only until the meal that we've just eaten is completely digested, are we ready for the next meal? That is the first step towards fasting. Now, when you finish your dinner, the time between finishing your dinner and your next meal the next morning, that becomes your longer fasting period. Some people do 12, some people do 14, some people do 16, some people do 18. It's up to you. But remember that everyone is different. Does intermittent fasting suit everyone? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. There are some people who cannot fast, and we're going to go through that. And there are some people who should not fast. It doesn't mean that they can't fast at all. They can get better at keeping longer gaps between their meals, like maybe 3.5 to 4 hours, and actually eating their next meal only when they're physically hungry. Or they can do a minimum fast, 12 hours. You finish your dinner at 7 p.m., you eat only after 7 a.m. 12 hours is simple for most people. It will not create a problem. Maybe it'll be 13 for some, maybe it'll be 14 for the others. Now let's talk about the fact that everyone is different and everyone responds differently. Let's say you are a really stressed out a person, and you respond very poorly to cortisol. Cortisol is not a bad hormone. It's a stress hormone. It's great for us. It puts us in the sympathetic nervous system. It communicates with blood pressure, your hormones, your insulin, and everything. The problem with cortisol is if it stays up too long, like you wake up stressed, you go to work stressed, you're stressed at work, you come home stressed. Now you can't sleep because you're stressed out. So what happens is you're maintaining high cortisol levels all the time. Cortisol is meant to go up in the human body, do its job, and come back down. It's not meant to be up all the time. Now, when it's up all the time and you start to fast, what does fasting also do? Fasting also raises cortisol. Now, there's too much of cortisol in your body. So you're going to start having thyroid problems, or if you're already a thyroid patient, you can make it worse for you. Okay, we'll come to the thyroid gland very soon. So you need to understand everyone's different. If you're really stressed out, you can fast, but make it lesser. Make it 12 hours. Make it 13 hours. There's a checklist that we go through very quickly. So number 1 is cortisol. Number 2, if you're pregnant, you should not be fasting. If you're planning for a pregnancy, you should not be fasting. That's the time your body needs a lot of nutrients, and you are not smart enough to decide that for the human body. So you want to be careful. You can do all the intermittent fasting you want to do after you've delivered your baby, but you will not do it when you're pregnant or when you're about to try to conceive for a baby. The third, thyroid. There are mixed studies for this. I have patients who have hypothyroidism and they've reversed it with lifestyle change and fasting. And I have some people who made it worse. Now, there are 2 mixed schools of thought and science revolving this. Your thyroid is your metabolic gland. It is designed to control you, to slow down your metabolism, increase your metabolism, and all of that stuff. Now, when you are fasting, it can lower your TSH, making your hypothyroidism worse. At the same time, it can work positively for you, because if you have a thyroid problem caused because of insulin resistance, poor lifestyle, too much of weight, a lot of smoking and drinking, sleep deprivation, intermittent fasting can help you lose weight. Because you lose weight, you get better at insulin resistance. You're improving your insulin sensitivity. And because of that, your thyroid gland can heal. So you see, it can work 2 ways. The only way you find out is by doing it and figuring out how you feel. And we're going to go through that checklist very soon. Okay. The next is if you have uncontrolled acid reflux. If you have uncontrolled acidity, again, it can work 2 ways. I have hundreds of patients who have reversed their acid reflux and their acidity by smart fasting, which means they started off with 8 hours, 9, 10, 11. Some of them pushed it to 14. The acidity came back. They came back to 12. They were fine. And I have a lot of patients where the acid reflux and the acidity got worse. So you got to figure out where you fit. Fasting can settle you at many levels. It teaches you to behave around food. It teaches you to eat less of the foods that you're not supposed to eat. And that's why you can sort out acidity. But if the root cause is not that, it's a hernia, your LES valve is loose, or you have some damage in your esophageal tube, then intermittent fasting is not really going to help you. So you got to figure it out. What works for you? There is no cookie cutter approach when it comes to fasting. The next thing that you do, uncontrolled blood sugar fluctuations and type 1 diabetes. It works two ways. I have hundreds of patients who are diabetes free today, type 2, because they changed their lifestyle and they introduced smart fasting. And then I have patients with uncontrolled fluctuations of levels where when they tried to do intermittent fasting, it made it worse. Everyone is different. You got to find out what works for you. The next thing, if you're a patient with kidney stones, now is not the time to fast. It's going to make it worse. Dissolve your kidney stones, get them out of your system, and then get back to fasting. But never do it, especially prolonged intermittent fasting when you have kidney stones. And obviously, it's common sense if you're skinny and you're thin and you're trying to put on weight, long schedules of fasting is not going to work for you. Then if you have gut issues, fasting can solve gut problems because you give your gut a break to replenish and regrow. But let's say you have a gut problem where you have intestinal malabsorption problems. Okay. Your mucosal tissues are designed. You're not absorbing nutrients from the food that you eat. Maybe fasting is not the best thing for you until you strengthen your gut. Because by fasting, you're reducing your feeding window. By reducing your feeding window, you're not going to get the amount of calories and nutrients that your body needs. So it can solve gut issues and it can make gut issues worse. So that's why you never follow Instagram for blind advice. You take an idea, you break it down. Does this suit me? Does this make sense to me? And then you implement it. All right. Now, intermittent fasting is not for people who do not know how to respect the feeding window. You have your fasting window and then you have your feeding window. Now, in this feeding window, for some of you, it may be 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, or 12 hours. You need to make sure that you're giving your body all the nutrients it needs. If you are not giving your body all the nutrients you need in your feeding window, for example, someone gets into the feeding window and they try to starve themselves. They want to lose weight quickly. So they say, okay, I want to eat this. I want to eat that. I want to eat this and that. Now they're nutritionally starved and intermittent fasting is going to become their worst enemy. And I'll tell you what signs to look out for. So when it's the feeding window, you got to understand that this is my window to give my body all the nutrients, vitamins, micro minerals, trace minerals, and macros that it needs to sustain survival, my health, my skin, my organ health, and everything else. So respect the feeding window. Otherwise, intermittent fasting is going to cause you a ton of problems, which I'll come to. If you're on certain medications that requires you to eat at specific timings, intermittent fasting is not for you right now. Okay. And if you're going through certain treatments, like for example, heavy treatments like chemotherapy and radiation, you can still fast. There is a way to fast before your chemo cycle. And then in your feeding window, eat. It's not for everyone. Some people do it. Fantastic benefits. It needs to be supervised and it needs to be planned. But always check with your medical professionals whether you should be fasting based on the medications that they're giving you. That's extremely important. And also, after a bypass surgery or you're in cardiac rehab, you want to make sure that you don't shock the body by going into prolonged fasts. Fasting can be great for your heart, but it can also become your biggest enemy if you don't do it the right way and you're doing it too soon after you've had a cardiac event. All right? Now, how should you feel if intermittent fasting is working well for you? All right. How should you feel? Because that's the best indicator that you know that, hey, these are the indicators. It's working well for me. I'm safe. Number one, your energy levels should be spectacular. Not the energy that coffee is giving you. I am completely against people fasting on coffee. It's not a fast. Don't fool yourselves. Okay? You are not fasting with any benefits except for an Instagram post that I fasted 18 hours on 3 cups of coffee. Coffee increases cortisol. Intermittent fasting increases cortisol. You don't want excess cortisol in your body. If you need coffee to extend your fast, just don't fast. You either fast the right way or you don't fast at all. Number 2, the energy that you get from real fasting, you shouldn't require a cup of coffee. When you fast and you're fasting the right way, your energy level should be spectacular. Your brain focus, your mental health, all of that focus, it should be crystal clear. You should be like, wow, I can get so much of work done. Your physical energy should be like, wow, I can even go to the gym and do a workout. That is cellular energy, not stimulant-induced energy, which anyone can induce by taking a whole load of caffeine. So that's the number 1 thing. You know you're fasting well if your energy levels are at a cellular level. Number 2, your sleep should be getting better at night, not worse. It should be getting better. Number 3, if you're fasting the right way, your hair, your skin should be better. Your skin should be glowing. Your hair should be stronger. Your hair shouldn't be thinning and falling, and you shouldn't be looking old and haggard. That means you're fasting the wrong way. The 4th point, your mood should be spectacular. You'll say, wow, where did I get this attitude from? I feel so amazing. You're spreading positivity. You're feeling good. You're thinking good thoughts. That should be another outcome of great fasting. Not that I'm frustrated, I'm bored, I'm negative, I'm all the time irritated. No, you're starving. You're not fasting. You are starving. By starving, you're creating more cortisol. You're breaking down the body. You're not building it. And the last, your mood, like I just spoke about. You should have a great mood. And finally, if you're fasting to lose weight, you should be losing inches and fat, not muscle. If you are wasting muscle and losing muscle, you are not respecting the feeding window, or you are fasting too much. So maybe you're losing weight, but you're becoming like you're losing muscle and you're losing fat the wrong way. You're fasting the wrong way. You are making yourself metabolically weaker. So that's how you know if you are doing intermittent fasting the wrong way or the right way, and whether it's even meant for you or not meant for you. 12 to 14 hours is a fantastic window for most people I know. Now, some people can do 16. Go ahead and do it. Some people can do 18. Everyone is different. Some people do planned and supervised prolonged fasts to overcome a medical condition. Great job as long as it suits you and you're doing it with the right knowledge, right intention, and under supervision. Prolonged fast can be therapeutic for you. For everyone else, you want to go through this checklist and find out if intermittent fasting is the right thing for you or not. There'll be some days. My window is usually 12 to 14 hours. There'll be some days that I wake up and I need to eat. It's just been 9 hours and I respect my body. Maybe my body needs nutrients at that point. Maybe there's some more protein required because I worked out heavy and my body needs it to repair. Listen to your body. You don't listen to a gadget that tells you what the intelligence of your body is telling you at 100% accuracy. You don't need Instagram to tell you how many hours to fast. You need to start today. Stop eating dinner as close to sunset as possible. Okay? Plan not to eat for 12 hours. Let's say you finish dinner at 7 o'clock. 7 in the morning. Ask yourself, am I hungry? No. Go to 8 o'clock. That's 13 hours. Are you hungry? No. Go to 14 hours. Oh, I feel a little bit hungry. Break your fast. Do this for 2 to 3 days and you will arrive at your average. It is not a game or a competition to extend your fast. I have people who are getting results in 18 hours and I have people who are fasting for 12 and 14 hours and getting the same results. It is also the timing. Circadian fasting is more powerful than the number of hours that you do. I have people who finish dinner with sunset and do well with a 12 to 14 hour fast. I have people who finish their meal at midnight or are snacking till 1 in the morning and fast 18 hours and they still have gut issues, hair problems, weight problems, and everything that fasting should be taken care of because you need to fast according to your circadian rhythms. It's not the number of hours that matter. It is the quality and the timings of your fast that has more value. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, breathe deep. And remember, you care is all about you.